Tennessee football recruiting, and the Vols pick up a tight end, one that maybe doesn't pop off the page immediately, but I believe is a big pickup. What can you tell us about the Vols' latest commitment, Caleb Calhoun? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so here's the thing. Carson Sneed is a very interesting pickup. He's a 3-star on 247 Sports, a 4-star on 247 Sports composite. Comes out of Donaldson Christian Academy in Nashville. Tennessee beat out. Now, these are some heavy hitters, guys. If you look at last season and the success that was had and just the nature of Blue Bloods, the schools Tennessee beat out, they should be proud about because they beat out Ohio State. Beating out Ohio State is always a win, right? They beat out Louisville, who, by the way, has a very cutting-edge offense with Jeff Brom. Tight ends would want to go play there. And they beat out Ole Miss. And let's be honest, Jeff Brom and Lane Kiffin are a threat to Josh Heupel with recruiting offensive talent as much as anybody. Because whatever you think about them defensively, they can coach offense.
Along those lines, we didn't mention this yesterday, but we should have. Right up there with Heupel, wouldn't you have to rate Lane Kiffin as one of the best recruiting coaches of quarterbacks? You know, we let his name slip yesterday. I think Lane and Josh Heupel, because of their styles and their age, are going to be somewhat rivals for the foreseeable future. And, of course, the fact that Tennessee hired Lane Kiffin and he left only enhances that potential rivalry.
I agree. That's a huge deal with it. And there's going to be more fights over this long term. It'll go into overdrive if Lane Kiffin goes to Florida next year. I mean, could you imagine, Dave, Lane Kiffin in Florida, how much Tennessee would want to beat out Lane Kiffin for everything at that point? So, but it's still a thing for Ole Miss. And I think Tennessee, Carson Sneed, if you look at him, very good at making catches and coverage. He outruns defensive backs. He's pretty athletic for a tight end, 6'6", 6'5", 235. Now, here's the caveat. I'm not just going to mention the whole coming from Nashville and that prospects are overvalued from Nashville. That does not mean Nashville prospects aren't good, guys. I want to be very clear on this. Nashville prospects are good. What it means is if there's a 3-star from Nashville, recruiting services will give them a 4th star because they are so tied into the city of Nashville. They're a lot of them are based out of there. So they just cover them a lot more.
Now, it's worth noting that I believe that 247 Sports is still
they still have a 3-star.
Nashville. Are they still in Nashville?
Yeah, 247 Sports is I believe is in Nashville.
So this would kind of go against your point, right? That they have him as a 3-star.
Yes, and Composite has him as a 4-star. You are right. However, on threes
in Nashville too.
Yeah, on threes in Nashville has him as a 4-star. So let's go. So yeah, basically, he's a 3-star on 247 Sports, a 4-star on Composite. Other services are based in Nashville. So I'm not going to knock that. Okay, I'm not going to knock him because he's from Nashville. Although again, I think all ratings are a bit overinflated for those kids. It's that he played in the private school system in Nashville. So when I see him outrunning defensive backs, Dave, for a touchdown like he does on his highlight reel, like Jason Witten did in Michigan, I'm like, come on.
It's hard to determine. No,
yeah,
I agree with you on that. Which commitment in 2026 is most likely to stick? Quarterback Faizon Brandon or tight end Carson Sneed? There are individual reasons why both could look elsewhere. There's no need to look elsewhere when it comes to Work Trucks. All about trucks. Work Trucks with an X, LLC.com. Trucks that are actually available. Trucks that help you maximize your profits by having the right work truck. Now, time is money. The perfect work truck doesn't break down and has all the space to carry what you need. That's what Work Trucks is intent on offering, while other dealerships just can't do it. It's contracting. It's about time. Work Trucks saves you time with less back and forth. The Napod work bodies are installed. They've got the cranes, dump trucks. They're awesome. If you're a contractor, you need to know Work Trucks, and that's a fact. In Birmingham and on Clinton Highway in Knoxville, Work Trucks with an X, LLC.com, Work Trucks, LLC.com. Proud supporters of the Tennessee Vols. Contractor, you have to know Work Trucks. I could make the argument that Faizon Brandon could have other schools come at him and Merklinger or McIntyre could grab the starting job and he could decide to go elsewhere. That's just quarterback recruiting 101, right?
Yes.
Okay. Carson Sneed as a 3-star, if we want to call him a borderline player because he plays at a lower level, if we want to call him that, he could end up elsewhere if he doesn't continue to develop. Now, he's already got size at 6'5.5". he's 235, or I would wonder if he grows into an offensive tackle. But, Carson Sneed, if he doesn't develop, could be one of those guys that you trade up for when you get closer to signing day. Could be. So I ask you this question: who is more likely to end up of all, Faizon Brandon or Carson Sneed?
I mean, again, not a guarantee, but I think it's obvious that you put more money on Carson Sneed because Faizon Brandon is going to have to compete with George McIntyre. And the truth of the matter is, with quarterbacks, there's always only room for one quarterback, right? I mean, if you're a tight end and a coach tells you you're not the guaranteed starter, you can split time and split reps and be fine. You don't really, unless Steve Spurrier's coaching you and it's the 90s, you're not splitting reps with a quarterback.
No, and I read a quote from his coach that I thought was really insightful, and it said he's a dude. Now, sometimes that sounds like an insult. Caleb, he's a dude. But in football terms, it means you're a player. So that to me means he shows up on campus, is ready to play tight end pretty quickly. How effective he is, we'll see. He seems more like the blocking type of tight end that Tennessee likes to utilize with Jacob Warren. And then you see how he develops when he gets on campus. But I have no problem with him taking somebody like this as a 3-star this early in the process. But the thing that I like about him is I think he gives you immediate help on special teams and help at tight end because he is a dude, which in football terms is a good thing, Caleb.
Yes, that's very true. It's a very good thing, football terms, to be a dude, like a baller, basically, a player. And I'll say that I'm going to say this up front. I don't think it's any coincidence. Even though I think Faizon Brandon is less likely to stay than Carson Sneed, I don't think it's a coincidence now that he committed right after Faizon Brandon. I think because of Faizon Brandon,
it's definitely not.
He knew at that point, like he was always leaning probably Tennessee, but with Faizon Brandon, he says, okay, they're not going to have a problem at quarterback no matter what happens in the future. I know that whoever's throwing the ball will be able to get me the ball. So I should go there now because I already wanted to.
Teddy says they ain't going anywhere. I look at a 2026, 2 years down the line. I think there's always that possibility. So I'm not trying to tell you that they're going anywhere. I don't think they are. As a matter of fact, I'd make the argument that Tennessee does end up with both of them because give me one major decommitment that has occurred under Josh Heupel's watch. Anybody? I'm opening that up to the message board as well. One major decommitment, like a Chris Leak, like that type of guy who says he's coming to your school and then decides not to. And I think that speaks to culture. And you make fun of me a lot, Caleb, for saying culture too much. But I think a lot of that speaks to culture, the fact that they're willing to stick. I mean, Colorado's had decommitments, and I think that speaks to their culture or lack thereof that we talked about yesterday.
That is true. The biggest one I remember, and this was a significant one, was the Mazio Bennett decommitment. For those who don't remember, Mazio Bennett was a 4-star from South Carolina. I want to say committed right after Jalen Hyatt, who is also from South Carolina, had that 5-touchdown game against Alabama. And then he flipped after South Carolina blew out Tennessee.
I don't know that he flipped publicly. I would have to go back and look that up. But I can tell you that he was.
Yeah, he was committed. And
I can tell you he was. Well, what I was going to tell you, he was privately committed at the very least. Now, so he apparently went public with it as well. Asia Cafe, treat yourself to authentic Asian cuisine, handcrafted from guarded family secrets. 5 locations to choose from. Just go right down below, asiacafe.org, asiacafe.org.